Have you ever wanted to send an HTTP request from a Google Cloud function, but felt overwhelmed by the process? You're not alone. Today, we're going to break it down step by step. I totally get it. Starting with Cloud Functions and Node.js can be a bit daunting, especially when the documentation feels scattered. But don't worry, we're here to simplify it for you. Here's the specific question we're addressing today. One user asked how to write a Google Cloud function that receives an HTTP request and then sends another HTTP request to a different endpoint. Sound familiar? Let's dive into it. So, what does this involve? Essentially, you need to set up your Cloud function to handle incoming requests and then use a library to send out requests to another service. We'll walk through the code together. And stick around. At the end, I'll share a quick tip that will make your Cloud functions even more powerful. To begin, the user needs to set up their Google Cloud function to handle incoming HTTP requests. This is done by defining a function that takes in request and response parameters. Next, the user should check if the required data is present in the request body. In this case, we are looking for a message property. If it's missing, we will send a 400 error response. Now, if the message is present, the user can log it and send a success response. This is where we will also prepare to send the HTTP request to the other endpoint. Finally, the user needs to send the HTTP request to the specified endpoint. This can be done using the Axios library, which simplifies making HTTP requests. Fun fact. Did you know that the first HTTP request ever made was in 1991? We've come a long way since then, and now you can send requests with just a few lines of code. Now let's look at the answers provided by other users. An alternative approach suggested by another user is to use the Axios module for sending HTTP requests. Unlike the request module, Axios utilizes JavaScript promises, making it easier to handle asynchronous operations. Let's move forward and look at another answer. An alternative approach shared by another user involves using the request module with promise support, specifically the request promise package. This can simplify sending HTTP requests from your Google Cloud function. That's it for that response. Let's explore another one. An alternative approach suggests using the Axios library to send HTTP requests from your Google Cloud function. The user notes that while Axios may not be necessary for simple requests, it is commonly used in the Google Cloud function documentation. They also mention that the request module is deprecated. In the provided code, the user sets up an API endpoint and wraps the parameters in an object. They then use Axios to send a POST request to the specified URL, handling both success and error responses appropriately. Now, let's dive into a different answer from another user. An alternative approach suggested by a user is to use the request module. This module allows you to send HTTP requests easily. In their example, they demonstrate how to send a GET request to the IFTTT endpoint. Here's that quick tip I promised. Always handle errors when making HTTP requests. This will save you from unexpected crashes and help you debug issues more easily. And there you have it. You now know how to send an HTTP request from a Google Cloud function. If you found this helpful, please subscribe for more tips and tricks on cloud programming.